In this video lesson, we are going to derive the long-run average cost curve. We'll see how exactly it looks like on a graph. We'll see how exactly it can be constructed as an envelope curve for short-run average costs. Basically, the idea is that in the long run, the firm is able to vary both capital and labor. As we know, the idea of the long run is that all factors of production are variable. So we can select the most appropriate level of capital or the size of our factory, the plant size, the most efficient technology and cost structure, which is the most appropriate for our chosen scale of production. We are able to select technology and cost structure which will allow us to produce with the minimum possible costs for our chosen production level. We are selecting the best combination of capital and labor, which enables us to generate lowest possible curves. Let's see how exactly it works. Strictly speaking, the main graph which you'll need is this one. I will cover it in a little bit more details and I will draw each of them one by one. Basically, let's have a look what it shows. We have a certain selection of short-run average costs for first production level, second production level, third production level. All of these different cost structures reflect different size of our factory, depending on whether we produce on a small scale, output equal to Q1, on a medium scale, output equal to Q3, or on a large scale. Depending on the scale of production, there will be certain most appropriate technology, which is represented by the short-run average cost. Why is it short-run? Because once we've selected our production level, we will need to buy certain amount of machines. We will be fixing the capital which we are using in our production process. And as a result, we'll be dealing with certain short-run average costs. This one or that one. But in the long run, we don't have to be located on these higher parts of the short-run cost curves. Strictly speaking, in the long run, we are able to switch, to jump from one cost structure to another one. We can switch between different short-run average cost curves. We will never operate on the cost curves which are higher than others. And as a result, in the long run average cost curve will just touch the lowest possible sections of the short-run average cost curves. That's why it can be drawn as an envelope, just touching the lowest possible segments of available average cost curves. Let me just draw another graph to illustrate this in a little bit more details. This is our cost structure. Let's draw a graph. So this is our quantity and these are our costs shown along vertical axis. We can choose to produce on a small scale production, on a medium scale, producing more output, or on a large scale. We can produce, for example, 10 units of output, 10,000 units of output, or for example, 1 million units of output. And for each of these situations, we will be dealing with certain cost structure. In other words, if we decide to produce on a small scale, producing this amount of output, producing around 10 units of output, a little bit more or a little bit less, we will be operating with this specific cost curve, short-run average cost curve, this one. If we decide to operate on a medium scale, producing around 10,000 units, plus or minus maybe a little bit, we will be dealing with this cost structure. This particular short-run average cost curve will better represent our technology which we will be using. We might be installing some additional machines, some production lines to be able to produce this amount of output. Our costs will look differently, so our cost curve will have a different shape. And of course, when we operate on a larger scale, when we produce around 1 million units, a little bit more or a little bit less, again, our technology is likely to change. We will select different amount of capital and our costs will now be represented by another short-run average cost curve, 3 in this case. So generally in the long run, depending on how much we want to produce, what specific amount of output we decide to manufacture, depending on market conditions, on our market share, depending on demand for our products, depending on our available financial resources, we will be able to jump from one cost structure to another one. We will never want to operate on this part of the cost curve. Why is this the case? Let's imagine that we want to produce, for example, 15 units. This is our target production level. If we decide to produce 15 units of output, we can do this using different technologies. we can operate on this short-run average cost curve shown by this line. And in this case, if we choose our first technology, our cost will be equal to, for example, £10 per unit. Or we can decide that it would be more appropriate for us to have some production line installed, which will be represented at different level of capital, which will be represented by this short-run average cost curve. But in this case, our costs per unit will be shown by that point on the second cost curve, which will be higher, for example, £15 per unit, which is better for us to produce at £10 or at £15. Apparently, we would be interested in producing it with lower costs, so we will produce at £10 by staying within short-run average cost 1, by staying within this production level, using this technology. In other words, this part of the cost curve, short-run average cost curve 2, will not be relevant for us. We will never choose to be located there. Instead, we will jump to short-run average cost 1. It will never be functional. On the other hand, if we decide to produce some amount somewhere here, for example, 1,000 items, again, we can operate using the original technology, short-run average cost 1, and in this case, we would be producing with the same £15 per unit, or instead, we can install our new automated production line, which will cost us a lot, but because we are producing more items, we will be able to spread this additional cost between all units, which will allow us to operate at lower cost, let's say £8 per hour, which will be preferable for us now. In this case, for this new level of output for 1,000 units, it will of course be cheaper to operate along short-run average cost curve 2. In other words, we will never stay along this line. It's not relevant for us. We will never choose it. We will never operate there. Because we are able to vary the amount of capital, we will simply switch from this cost function to that cost function. The same is true when we proceed, when we move between medium and large scale of production. When we operate somewhere here, it's better for us to operate at that point, let's call it point X, rather than at point Y. We're able to switch between this cost function and that cost function. Y is much more expensive for us, and we will not produce there. Instead, we will jump to point X. And the other way around, if we operate somewhere here, beyond this point, in this situation, let's say we are producing 0.5 million units, we're still capable of manufacturing this, staying with our medium scale production level along short-run average cost 2. But again, it will be much more expensive than getting some different technology which will allow us to drop costs per unit. In other words, this part of the short-run average cost curve 2 is also not relevant. We will never choose to be there because we are able to vary the amount of capital. By jumping between different short-run cost curves, we are able to operate along lowest segments of these costs only. So for us, what will be relevant are these parts of the cost curves. So we can emphasize them, make them thicker. We'll only operate along these lowest parts of the short-run cost curves. Any higher sections are not relevant for us. We will never operate there. And this is the idea of the long-run average cost curve. What is shown in blue here is our long-run average cost curve. It's an envelope of the lowest parts of the short-run cost curves. It combines only the cheapest ways of producing output, which we're able to do by varying the amount of capital, by jumping between different technologies. And this is exactly what is shown in our slide. This is exactly what we see here. Here we have 5 short-run average cost curves rather than 3, and our long-run average cost curve is just touching the lowest parts of it. It's an envelope which just touches the lowest possible segments, and the higher parts, what is located above this cost curve, is not relevant. We will never choose to operate there. Another illustration, we can have different scale of production. We can have 1 factory or 2 factories or 3 factories, 4 factories, and we can produce the same amount of output using different technologies. For example, we need to produce, let's say, this amount of output. This is what we've chosen as our optimal production level. For example, 100 units. This is what we need to manufacture. We can produce this using green technology, 3 factories, using blue technology, 2 factories, or using some brown technology using 1 factory or 4 factories. And in each of these cases, depending on how many factories we select to build, we will have different costs per unit. Green technology will generate the lowest costs, for example, £10 per unit. Blue technology, shown by short-run average cost curve 2, will generate costs equal to, let's say, £12. Brown technology will cost us £15 per unit, and some other brown technology shown by the first short-run average cost curve will be the most expensive, and our output will cost us £20 per unit. Which will be preferable for us? Which one we will choose to do? Of course, £10. This is the lowest cost of production shown by the green average cost line. In other words, whatever is located above our green line for this output level will not be appropriate. We will never operate there. We will only operate along this green part of our short-run average cost 3. In other words, if we decide to manufacture some production level around 100 units between these 2 points, it will be most profitable for us to select technological process with 3 factories, and we are doing this for every possible production level. And therefore, after we've crossed out all irrelevant parts, we are only left with the lowest segments of our short-run cost curves. In other words, we have our long-run average cost curve, which is an envelope of the lowest segments. So basically, it looks like that. This is what we've had, and we are left with our long-run average cost curve. Strictly speaking, what you can notice here is that we have downward sloping section of the long-run average cost curve, some horizontal section where our long-run average cost per unit remain the same, and then some upward sloping part. So this graph shows this better. Have a look. So we can split our output into 3 possible areas, 3 sections. In the first section, our long-run average cost curve is downward sloping. In other words, costs are declining. Here, the costs in the second part for this level of output, production level, costs remain unchanged. And then in the third part, in the third segment, our long-run average costs are actually increasing, so for this production level. These 3 sections of the long-run average cost curve, in fact, have separate names for it. The situation when our long-run average cost curve is declining represents our scale economy or increasing returns to scale. This is the situation when cost per unit decline as output goes up. The more we produce, the cheaper it becomes per unit. Or, in other words, you can double your inputs and your output will more than double. When you decide to produce twice as many items, your cost will less than double. Situation when your long-run average cost curve is horizontal, when it's just a straight line, is called constant returns to scale. So you vary your scale of operation, but your returns are the same. It costs you the same amount per unit, regardless of how many units you produce. You double your inputs and your output doubles as well, and your cost will double. And the third part of the long-run average curve, or the third scenario, this is the situation with diseconomy of scale or decreasing returns to scale. This is represented by upward sloping long-run average cost curve. The more you produce, the more expensive per unit it becomes. In other words, you double your inputs, but your output will less than double. Your costs will more than double in this particular scenario. Increasing returns to scale or scale economy, constant returns to scale, and diseconomy of scale or decreasing returns to scale of operations. So this is what we are experiencing: initial economies of scale, then we start suffer from some diseconomies of scale eventually after a certain level of output. In other words, there will be some minimum to long-run average costs as well for majority of technological processes, for majority of cost structures. As in the short run, there will be a certain link, there will be a certain relationship between average costs and marginal costs. And as before, marginal cost curve will pass through this point of minimum. And this will be true both in the short and long run. So our long run marginal cost curve will pass through the point of minimum of long run average costs. This is all information which we had to cover today. Please make sure that you do your reading. Please skip part on Isaac costs and Isaac wants. There is a section on in this chapter in Sloman. You don't need to cover this. It's beyond our syllabus. It will not be examined, so you can safely skip this. And if you prefer, you can cover some additional advanced material. Please don't forget to do your exercises before your seminar. That's it for today. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll see you again next week with the next topic.